Fireside Chat with Consensys Labs. Today we have Dr. Hunter Albright back and chatting with us about team alignment and goals. Hunter, how's it going?
It's going very well. Thank you, Zach.
Excellent, excellent. So to kick things off, could you explain what you mean when you're kind of talking about defining success for hackathons? Like, why is it important for teams to do that before they start to build?
So I think there's a couple things. One is, first and foremost, I think it's really important for team alignment, especially with, I think the way you guys are promoting the hackathons, which is great, is encouraging remote teams and thinking about people leveraging their evening and weekend times that they have available. So in order to make the most of that time, I think it's just really important for everybody on the team to have a common view of success and what they want to accomplish so they can just better use their time.
That totally makes sense. And so when you're talking about teams defining their expectations around it, should that work already be done by people kind of finding the teams? Like, should expectations already be defined for just people kind of going in before even joining? And what are some goals or mindsets that you think are helpful when approaching these kind of events?
So I think the first one, in terms of should it be done beforehand, I think it's always great to have for somebody to have a straw man for people to react to. But I also think it's important that they don't have it fully baked, to allow everybody to contribute and allow for the team to define success together. And that's really around sort of the ways of working or what they want to get out of it. I think another key element for success really then is, what do they want to build and how far do they want to get, and what does success look like in terms of the end? What's the outcome? How far do they want to get with their idea, and what's a meaningful result in terms of that? Because I think there's a real balance. You want teams to really shoot for some of the bigger ideas, but the bigger ideas can't be completed in a 24-hour, 15-day, or 30-day hackathon. And so it's important to unpick what success then looks like, even if you're trying to sort of move the collective community forward with that effort.
Yeah, I think that's a really good frame. I mean, it does seem impossible, right? Especially when we're talking about short periods of time together and we're disrupting something major. So what really is attainable? Like, what can be done together in short time? And how do we kind of keep our eye on the prize while being able to kind of achieve crunchy, next step goals?
Yeah, so I tend to think about it in two different sort of frameworks. One is really around what are the hard things. So if you sort of outline this really audacious goal of, hey, we want to, whether it's sort of a really user-focused problem or just this great sort of experience you want to create, and you lay that out there and work backwards and say, okay, what are the really hard things that we think as a team have to be done in order for this to be successful? And so that could be on the interface side, it could be on sort of the middleware or back-end services that need to be developed, or it might even be around integrations that have to happen. Or it could also be around customer proof points, about people even just saying they care about what you're building. So, I would encourage people to think about it in sort of three categories, maybe market, product, and then business. And if you think about from a market side, what are going to be the really hard things to prove that people might care, or what would be the promises or the benefits that they would react to? And on the product side, I think it can be some of the items that we just talked about. What might be the front end, the integrations, or the back end work that really need to be done to enable the end result? And then on the business model, what might be some of the ways that it would be sustainable, right? How are people going to make money? How are people going to get rewarded for their effort? And then sort of work back. I think one frame is then to pick selected hard items and say, in this hackathon, we're going to prove how to do A, B, and C. So you're not trying to solve all of it, but you're going to pick a couple of those elements. The other way that we tend to work with teams is to say, storyboard your idea, and then pick what might be the magic moments, the 1, 2, or 3 things in that full storyboard that you want to bring to life. And I always think about it is that if you know you can't solve the whole thing, where would you want to hand it off to another team at the end of the hackathon? And so if you could bring to life just 2 or 3 elements of the whole thing, would that be enough to really get somebody excited about carrying the torch forward?
I love that. I mean, especially the storyboard aspect, right? Like we do when we run design sprints. That's one of the perfect tools that we have, even if you're not necessarily an artist or a drawer, right? Like you're drawing with stick figures. To me, that's one of the best ways to kind of break down the flow of the product and those aha or those joyful moments where you're kind of like impacting the user's sort of experience, which I just love. Are there frameworks, examples, or further reading that you'd recommend for teams who want to better understand this idea of proof points or like the storyboard piece?
Yeah, I have a couple templates I'm happy to share, and we can attach to the bottom of the sort of the video that people can leverage. I think it's, again, I think, Zach, one of the things to sort of emphasize on your last point, and I think comes out in some of the templates, it's also a great place for product managers or just product focused people to really actively participate in a hackathon where they might not feel comfortable, right? You can do a lot of these things and you don't have to be a developer, whether you're a designer, a product professional, but just even thinking about how to structure it, how to specify the requirements can be really valuable and productive and a great definition of success over a limited period for a hackathon.
Yeah.
I love that. Absolutely. I mean, essentially just using hackathons as an opportunity to sort of push the boundaries of what you're capable of, right? Like what you're kind of getting to experiment with outside of your day-to-day.
Exactly. And even if you think about all the tools that are out there to quickly stand up sort of UX, UI websites with sort of drag and drop, you could sort of start to articulate what the benefits are going to be, what the user experience is going to be, highlight where the hard technical challenges, again, coming back to having a clear definition of hard things. And then you could either start to bring in a developer for the next hackathon or hand it off to a different team and move on and do something that might be in a different space. But, again, this idea of how do you move the community forward? How do you move in a limited period of time something forward where then somebody can pick the torch up and run with it?
I love that. That is fantastic. Well, that does it on our end. This is going to be kind of a short video. I think you kind of covered everything that I was wanting to hit on this topic. Thank you so much for sitting down to chat with us. And thanks everyone for watching. If you want to be notified when we publish new content or when we run our next distributed hackathon, go to buildandship.it and sign up to be notified then. Thanks everybody. And we will see you next time.